almost a school history for a freshman. In fact, he was the only Pac-12 quarterback to start every game of his team's season last year. From the gun, Lewis quickly to the outside to Maurice Bell, and he gets blown up behind the line of scrimmage. Josh Newton was the first Horned Frog to hit him.
This is exactly what we had talked with defensive coordinator Joe Gillespie about last night. The corners have to be physical on the edge for TCU as we take a look at Brendan Lewis, who's going to get the start. He's the incumbent, Brian.
Yep.
Started last season. Didn't have a great year, but he's gotten better through camp. New offensive coordinator Mike Sanford comes in, and we may see JT Shrout as well at some point, but Lewis is going to get the go.
So from the pistol, Alex Fontenot is your running back, and he gets the carry. Right side, and he's driven back.
Well, that's exactly what you want to see if you are a TCU fan. Their defense has been notorious over the last 21 years with Gary Patterson for being a stifling defense. Not last year. And so they went out and got Joe Gillespie, the defensive coordinator from Tulsa. He comes over here to join Sonny Dykes' staff and kind of change some things up, but they're going to be aggressive.
3rd and 10 for the Buffs. They'll go 5 wide. Lewis looking to the right side. Down the sideline, that pass is complete. Daniel Arias makes the catch, the senior. And this is a guy they believe has the mental makeup to be a #1 receiver as they go with some tempo here. 25-yard pickup. Lewis again. That one over the middle. Brady Russell. That's the tight end. They want to use him a lot more, not only in this game, but this season.
And last year, he's the returner, leading receiver, I should say, from a season ago. And the coaching staff here at Colorado feel like they've got to get him more involved. And I do like the fact that they pick up that huge 3rd down conversion. They go with the tempo, and now they got themselves in a very manageable 2nd down here.
2nd and 5. Deion Smith is checked into the backfield. And you'll see Colorado, under the new offensive coordinator Mike Sanford, do a number of things from tempo to huddling. Lewis will keep it, and he's got a 1st down. Johnny Hodges makes the stop for TCU.
And that's one of the things that Lewis can do. He's got some serious mobility from the quarterback position. He didn't quite get to see it enough last year. They had so many issues on the offensive line. Kind of revamp that offensive line. Hopefully they can protect Lewis a little bit better this season, and certainly that would lead to more dubs.
You know, the Horned Frogs, you talked about the defense, especially last year, was really bad.
Yeah.
Gave up over 200 yards of rushing a game, 462 yards per game. Overall, 35 points they were giving up to opponents. That was the worst under the Gary Patterson era. Look at that. As Smith gets to the outside, he's going to pick up another 5. Bradford. Bradford makes the stop.
If Bradford doesn't make that stop, I think he's in the end zone. That is a terrific stop from their middle safety, Millard Bradford. It's a great drive to start the game. And look, if you're TCU, you're okay with this. Coach Gillespie told us last night they're okay with long drives.
Lewis keeps it. Puts his head down, and he's close to the 1st down marker, maybe a yard short. Mark Perry came up to make the stop. Now, listen, Colorado fans know him very well because Perry spent the past 3 seasons with the Buffs. Led them in interceptions, had 3 of them. He was the 3rd leading tackler with transfers, and now a Horned Frog.
It may have given them a little bit of intel this week as they prepared for the Buffaloes. A little bit of insight as to what their wide receivers do well, what they don't do well, some matchups, things like that, and certainly that always helps.
Jay Lee stacks Deion Smith in the backfield. Smith bouncing it to the outside. And Mark Perry trips him up.
Decision time. Oh, man, if I'm Colorado, this crowd is electric. Yeah, I'm going for this thing. Absolutely. An opportunity here, Brian, on 4th and short to potentially keep this drive alive and put 6 on the board on the opening possession of the ball game.
Well, the Buffs converted 33% of the time on 4th down last season. 4th down. Jaylee Stacks. And I think we got a false start. Is that Roddick?
Yeah. Actually, I think it's Frank Phillip.
Colorado.
Well, looks like Colorado called a timeout first, though.
Saved him.
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks like they were going to try to set up a bit of a counterplay there and bring Phillip in across to pull across the line of scrimmage.
Colorado taking on TCU, first quarter, 4th and 1 for the Buffs. First offensive possession, 9th play of the drive coming, 4th and 1 from the TCU 15-yard line.
And they got their fullback Stacks in the backfield, maybe for extra protection here as they throw it.
Lewis keeps it, left side. And it is
I think he's short, Brian.
going to be close. The way they were looking, it looks like he's short.
Wow, what a stop for the TCU defense.
Dominic Williams was the first person who met him. And Williams, how about this? He is 17 years young. He won't turn 18 until Sunday in getting the start.
Watch the big fella in the middle, 52. Beats nearly, it looked like a double team, comes it down and just makes that stop short of the line to gain. Can you believe, I cannot imagine being 17 years old and starting my first college football game. Just incredible. The young man came in the spring and really turned some heads here in fall camp. And now, Brian, we're going to take a look at Chandler Morris.
Chandler Morris started his career at Oklahoma, sophomore. And listen, he was 3rd string at one point last year, had a couple of starts, that big one against Baylor. Here he is getting a start for the Horned Frogs. Gives it to Kendra Miller. And Miller wrapped up right behind the line of scrimmage. Naeem Rodman with the stop. And TCU will go with a little tempo.
And this is the area I think Buffalo fans really want to see. Talking about the defensive side of the ball. Can they get stops? Last year, they just did not get off the field enough.
Morris, the pass over the middle, incomplete. He was looking at Tay Barber. He had him, but the pass was low. Let's go down to the field. The 3rd member of our team, Taylor McGregor. Hello, Taylor.
Good evening, you guys. Get used to seeing many faces at quarterbacks between these two teams here tonight. Chandler Morris in for TCU right now, but last year's starter, Max Duggan, the senior, as well as redshirt freshman Sam Jackson, will see action in tonight's ball game. We saw Brendan Lewis for CU on the last drive, and JT Shrout will get reps as well. So it's going to be nothing like a quarterback battle in week 1.
Yeah, you're right. Garrett Riley, offensive coordinator from TCU, says more of a feel in playing these 3 quarterbacks. Here's Morris to pass over the middle and incomplete. Threw it to double coverage. Trevor Woods got a hand on it.
Boy, really tight coverage there in the secondary for the Buffaloes. I thought he was a little handsy, but no flag, and now they force the punt. 3 and out. Great start for the Buffaloes.
I'm surprised that comment out of you coming from a former cornerback.
Well, I think I led the Big Ten in PI, so I mean, listen, I'm just telling you.
Humble brag. Humble brag. Jordy Sandy will punt things away. High punt. Chase Penry. Fair caught. At his own 37. Still no score here in Boulder. 47-yard punt. The Buffs with the football winning as head coach of Colorado. Listen, he was the 2020 Pac-12 Coach of the Year. First season, just 1 regular season loss. Took them to the Alamo Bowl. And then last season, they won just 4 games. And then he just overhauled his whole staff this year.
80% of their offensive staff were replaced. 6 new coaches in total, and of course 12 seniors come back, and 46 new players, including some from the portal, and some new faces as well, including that young man right there, RJ Sneed.
Second offensive possession here for the Buffs and Brendan Lewis. They went 45 yards and then got stopped at the TCU 16. That's Fontenot. He needs to pick up a 4. And they're looking for him. Listen, this is a senior. And they're hoping that he's the Fontenot from, let's say, 2 years ago when he was a sophomore in 2019, where he ran for 874 yards, 5 touchdowns, didn't play a lot last season. Season before that was injured.
Yeah, he was out the entire year. So they're hoping, you're right, to get back to where he was a few seasons ago. And, you know, for his size, at 6 foot 200, the coaches love how physical he is.
Lewis on the run. That's complete to Montana Lamonius Craig.
A lot of people have talked about the wide receivers here in Colorado, and obviously they lost Brendan Rice, and they've got some good players coming back here, including that young man right there, Lamonius Craig, 6'2", 185 on the outside. And Daniel Arias, who we talked about, who had the great catch earlier on that big 3rd down, is probably their go-to wide receiver.
And in case you're wondering, you know, we're only really working with 1 camera here because of the number of lightning strikes and safety protocols we have. A couple of our other cameras we can't work. So that's the reason why you see this view of the game and working with just the 1 camera. That's a first down for the Buffs.
Yeah, nice first down pickup there for the Buffaloes. Needed that. Probably would have gone for it, I'm guessing, near midfield. But nonetheless, first down here for the Buffaloes. They've done a nice job kind of being methodical with their opening 2 drives of the ballgame. And listen, for Brendan Lewis, they need to make him comfortable, Brian, early in this game. And I think the way that the running attack has started and the offensive line getting that push against this TCU defensive line has been good.
Lewis back to pass again, throws it up, looking, and intercepted. Miller Bradford with the pick. Flag.
I think it might be defensive pass interference.
It was intended for Maurice Bell. Obviously, it was short.
Well, that's a dangerous throw, Brian, to throw it off your back foot and just launch into double coverage. Dominic Williams, the young freshman, was the one who got the pressure, but we'll see what the call is.
Defense number 14, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Yeah, this is almost like a Hail Mary. You'll see into double coverage, the football's thrown just kind of up for grabs. And just there at the last minute, Abe Kamara is the one who pushes on the wide receiver, Maurice Bell. And that's a big break, really, for the Buffaloes offense. So look at Abe Kamara.
Takes away the pick. 1st and 10 for the Buffs. Here's Fontenot. Gets to the edge and turns nothing into something. Jamoy Hodge forces him out of bounds, but not before he picks up 9 yards.
Brian, this should have been a tackle for loss. Johnny Hodges, 57, the transfer linebacker from Navy. He had him 3 yards deep in the backfield, but then Fontenot just breaks the tackle and all of a sudden shows that burst on the outside. Really good run.
Here's Smith. He's checked in, breaks a tackle. Spins. Ooh. Brought down at the 17-yard line. Abe Kamara with the stop, but an 11-yard pickup for the Buffs, and they'll go with a little tempo here.
And you can see the rotation from TCU early in the game, especially with the tempo. They want to try and rotate their defensive line as much as possible, especially with the altitude. First game of the year, guys get a little bit winded out here.
Back in the red zone. This is where they got stopped. Their last offensive possession. Jaylee Stacks, the fullback, gets the carry. Mike Sanford is the new offensive coordinator for the Buffs. And this was an offense that really was a league low 257 yards per game last year. It's one of the reasons why they made the switch. Stacks, the lone setback.
Look at Arias right here at the bottom of your screen.
Rolling
He's
out
wide
as
open.
Lewis throws it.
Oh, he had him in the back of the end zone, Bry.
He was looking at Caleb, though, Fourier. And I think that one was tipped. The line of scrimmage here. He's going to bring up third down.
You see Arias right here coming on this deep crosser. He's wide open, but the pressure gets there. He can't get the football out there in time and takes the underneath route instead.
So here's 3rd and 5. Lewis and flat. Delay a game.
Offense, 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
And that was one of the things Mike Sanford, the OC, was telling us.
Penalties, first
penalties,
game,
yep.
pre-snap penalties. Those are the concerns at really every level. You see it in the NFL, you see it in the preseason, you see it in college football. We saw it in week 0. Those are the concerns here in the first game of the season. So now, I mean, that's a devastating penalty. 3rd and 5, now you're 3rd and 10. Now you're forced into a definite passing situation here. And I keep saying Arias.
Lewis flushed and brought down. D. Winters makes the stop. He's the leader of that Horned Frog defense. Listen, they got a new defensive coordinator there for TCU, Joe Gillespie. Joe Gillespie said on the first day he brought the entire defense together. He talked to the team, and then after the meeting, he said, D. Winters, he went up to him and said, who's the alpha dog in this room? He said,
you see him right there, 13. Watch him he sees it and he just bursts. Great tackle to force the field goal attempt.
Cole Becker will come in to kick it. It's from 37 yards out. And it's good. So Colorado strikes first. Three to nothing our score here in Boulder.
Last year it was a different offense, but then learning it throughout spring and fall this year, he just was able to find consistency.
Yeah, that seemed to be the main reason why he got the starting nod, the consistency. Miller spins out of one tackle, puts his head down. Good run. Trevor Woods finally brings him down, but not before he picks up 7.
Boy, Terrence Lang is kicking himself. Big defensive end for Colorado, who had Kendre Miller in the backfield. Kendre spins out of it and turns what would have probably been a loss or no gain into about a 7-yard run.
Miller was something, you know, he averaged 7.51 yards a carry last season. That was the highest in the FBS. Here's Davis. Woo, Davis! High stepping and gets to midfield.
Davis,
that's an 18-yard pickup.
Yeah, Davis is the dangerous return man, and what they do right there basically is just like a return. They want to get the football, the jet sweep, get him in space, and show off that speed. 3 career punt returns for touchdowns, and nearly had a rushing touchdown right there.
Kendre Miller, Trent Battle in the backfield for the Horned Frogs. This is Miller. Check that, make it Battle. 2-yard pickup. Still nothing from Quentin Johnston. That is their all-world receiver for TCU. He's at the top of your screen. Horned Frogs will go 5 wide. And Morris is looking for Johnson, but then goes over the middle, in and out of the hands of Kendre Miller.
You know, Brian, you mentioned Johnston, Quentin Johnston, who's their star wide receiver. Hasn't seen a target yet. Is probably the top receiver, one of the top receivers in the entire conference. Projected to be a first-round draft pick next season. their go-to guy. We didn't get a chance to talk much about him in the open, but he is a playmaker. And here on this third down, if I'm Chandler Morris, I'd be looking for Quentin Johnston.
Amari DeMarcardo. DeMarcardo is in the backfield.
There's
Quentin Johnston
yeah.
there at the top of your screen. Morris looking that way, throwing for Johnston. He goes up, makes the leap, but out of bounds. Kalen Moore was defending. What a catch, but out of bounds.
And that's what TCU would like to do. Their offensive coordinator, Garrett Riley, in the air raid system, they're trying to find the one-on-one matchups. Beautiful job by Johnston going up and getting it, but frankly, really good coverage too there by Kalen Moore, who's a new starter for this Colorado defense, as they lost 2 of their corners this offseason to the transfer portal. So they've got young players in the secondary. That's where Johnston can kind of make his hay against this defense.
Jordan Sandy back to punt again. Chase Penry standing at his own 10. And there's the fair catch. That's a 38-yard punt. Boy, this holiday weekend we got a smorgasbord of big games.
I was going to say the same thing.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
a buffet of fantastic games.
I mean, you look at it on Saturday. Tomorrow it starts off with Georgia and Oregon. And then the big one at the shoe, Notre Dame, Ohio State. I know you're going to be interested in that one and going to be there. How about that?
Yeah, I got an early flight back to Columbus in the morning for that one. Looking forward to celebrating our 20th reunion of the national championship tomorrow night. But boy, all those games are great. I'm really looking forward to that UC Arkansas game down in Fayetteville. That's going to be a fun game, and see how Cincinnati can replace Desmond Ridder.
Deion Smith gets the carry. And he got back to the line of scrimmage, and that is it. Shadrack Banks makes the stop.
Going to go empty set here.
2nd and 10. Jet sweep. That's a pickup of about 4. Jack Hestera. He's the walk-on who they love what he's done this camp. He's out of Cedar Hill, Texas. And the Buffs will be looking at 3rd down.
That's a big one too, as they're backed up. Talk a lot about Brady Russell. This would be maybe an opportunity here to look for your big tight end, number 38.
Lewis. Plenty of time over the middle and complete to R.J. Sneed. Sneed is the transfer from Baylor. 5 seasons he spent with the Baylor Bears, and coming into this game, he had 133 catches in his career compared to the Colorado receivers who had a combined 80.
And he's coming off foot surgery in the spring, so they're happy he's finally back healthy. Coaches have said it's almost like having a coach on the field with R.J. Sneed.
Here's Smith again. Bounces it to the outside. Mark Perry again with the stop, 5-yard pickup.
The one thing I've been pretty impressed with, even though Colorado has moved the football up and down the field at times early in this first quarter, is the tackling. For an early season game, usually guys miss a lot of tackles. The tackling by TCU has been pretty efficient, especially on the perimeter.
30 seconds left in this quarter. Smith again spinning, and a flag.
Illegal formation. offense. More than 4 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
So second down coming here for the Buffs. From their own 21. Smith alongside Lewis.
That's the end of the first quarter.
Head coach here, Colorado, Sonny Dykes, in his first season as head coach at TCU. Last 3 seasons at SMU. Second down, Lewis looking, tries to throw the slant to Arias. That was a mugging.
A lot of contact there by Travius Hodges-Tomlinson, their top cornerback there on the outside. Boy, from my vantage point up here, B, I thought this was going to be an easy pass interference call. No flag.
Did you say earlier in that first quarter he's a little handsy?
He's a little handsy, yeah, a little bit. Well, that's again, Joe Gillespie, that's the thing he loves about their defensive backs, their corners specifically, is they are very, very physical.
3rd and 10 coming now. Lewis, good protection, and the throw is low. Fontenot over the middle.
That's the thing about this defense now that they've got a new defensive coordinator in Joe Gillespie. They're going to drop 8 and rush 3. And Fontenot's open here. It's just a miss. Pretty good job there up front by Dominic Williams.
Well, back deep for TCU is Darius Davis. He is a dangerous return man. He returned 100 yards, a kick return last season against West Virginia. Standing at his own 35. Makes the catch at his own 40. Davis. He's got a line. Davis down the sideline with the speed. Davis is going to go all the way. A 60-yard punt return for a touchdown by Darius Davis. He now has 5 career special team scores.
Talk about quieting down an atmosphere that's just been so loud tonight. That just was the silence is deafening now.
Griffin Kell in for the extra point. And it is good, and just like that, the Horned Frogs take the lead thanks to Darius Davis, who was once called pound for pound the strongest guy on the team.
It's a track guy in high school. Runs a 4.36 40 to the house. 60 yards, got some terrific blocks. Watch these 2 blocks. You're going to see Jacorius Spivey and then 81 Chase Curtis. They both do a good job getting their bodies in front, and they both could have been clips had they not gotten in front, but they did, and it allowed him to get the edge and get down the sideline.
Let's go down to the field and Taylor McGregor.
Well, I was talking to TCU players this week about the biggest change that they felt under Sonny Dykes, and every single one of them said an emphasis on nutrition, and all of them pointed to strength and conditioning coach Kaz Kazadi. They said he has completely changed the mindset of all of us in the program, and not only the mindset, he's changed their bodies as well. Just to give a couple of examples, wide receiver Quentin Johnston has put on 15 pounds in the last 6 months, and Chandler Morris has put on 17.
Wow. Well, listen, we just saw Darius Davis take it to the house. He squats 550, benches 370, cleans 350 as well. Lewis pass, caught by Maurice Bell, and he got dropped.
The alpha.
D. Winters, as I was saying earlier, their defensive coordinator, who's new from TCU, had a meeting with those guys, brought them in, talked to the whole team afterwards, went to D. Winters and said, "Who's the alpha dog?" He said, D. Winters looked him straight in the eye and said, "You're talking to him."
I love that. That was such a great story last night.
Here's the handoff. Fontenot. He's close to a first down, maybe about 2 yards shy. That's a pickup of 4.
Hey, Brian, to your point, you know, D. Winters, of course, is the team captain. They really kind of feel like he's the quarterback of this defense. Led TCU in tackles a season ago, and you know, for when a new defensive coordinator comes in like that, Joe Gillespie, and he hears that, I think he probably got chills. He's like, okay,
yeah.
now I know who the dude is on this defense.
It's amazing. He played receiver in high school.
That's crazy.
They transformed him into a linebacker. This is Jaylee Stacks, the fullback. He pounds forward for a first down for Colorado. Hey, don't forget tomorrow, top matchups of the day highlight week 1 ABC college football. 11th ranked Oregon, 3rd ranked Georgia. They square off at 3:30 Eastern. That's the annual Chick-fil-A game at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. And then Notre Dame, Ohio State. That's in the evening. Lewis to the outside. Brady Russell gets tripped up. Travius Hodges Tomlinson got back to the line of scrimmage, and that is it.
This is a terrific tackle here by Nnamdi Obiezor, number 4, comes up from his strong safety spot. Look at that, you go low. I'd be going low too on that big fella in the flat, and it's a great tackle. It's going to bring up 2nd and long.
Play fake, Lewis, plenty of time still, now flushed, and he's going to take off. He's got plenty of room. Lewis is on the run, cross midfield, and run out of bounds. And they're going to mark it at the 40-yard line of TCU, 24-yard pickup for Brendan Lewis.
What did Coach talk to us about yesterday? He talked about the Bradyisms, right, in the pocket, the little subtle movements. Watch him move around, steps up in the pocket. He feels the defense collapse, and once he steps outside, he breaks contain, and that's the athleticism he has. He can get out and run. He can absolutely be electrifying on the outside.
Lewis again, flushed, looking, and he'll throw that one away.
Great coverage in the back end and a really smart decision.
The pass went beyond the line of scrimmage.
Dylan Horton applying that pressure.
Mike Sanford, the offensive coordinator, was talking about Lewis. He said those, I said Bradyisms. What he means is just those subtle little 1-inch, 2-inch movements in the pocket where you got to just create those throwing windows. And on that previous play, he did that, and then he was able to step up and break the pocket.
Because he was talking about Tom Brady.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
This is 2nd and 10 now. That's complete. Sowell with the catch. He's the true freshman. out of Humboldt, Texas.
Finds that window, and pretty decent coverage by Josh Newton, but Lewis delivers.
Fontenot gets the carry. Picks up a couple. That's a first down. And once again, Colorado's knocking on the door.
They call it organized chaos on the sidelines, right? That's what Coach Sanford wants. He wants to have all these crazy signs down there on the sidelines. He wants to really try and confuse TCU. I don't know what any of that means, but it's making me hungry for a blizzard. I know that much.
We got flags and everybody's jumping off sides.
Oreo, by the way.
The banana split guy.
Okay.
I like the banana split portion.
Ball start. Offense number 75. 5-yard penalty.
Let's go back down to the field and Taylor.
Well, offensive coordinator Mike Sanford telling us, watch the sideline. It's crazy. And as you guys pointed out, some of those signs, I've been watching them, and they're up and down, sideways. I mean, they're having a lot of fun over there waving those signs.
From the TCU 33. Fontenot again. Caleb Fox makes the start, 5-yard pickup.
It's really good vision by Fontenot. That zone block, that wide zone, and he's able to cut back. TCU does a good job kind of disrupting, setting the edge, cuts back for what was probably going to be a minimal gain, ends up turning into about 5.
This is the 10th play of this drive. Fontenot. Driven out of bounds by Obiezor. Four-yard pickup.
Right, the offensive line's done a really good job. You're going to watch them get out here and pull and set that edge and allow Fontenot, to use that speed. And now they've got an opportunity. It's still 3rd and 6, but it's manageable. Definitely inside field goal range.
Lewis. He'll keep it. And let's see, I think they may have forced him out about a yard shy of the first down. Shadrack Banks was there, 4-yard pickup. And 4th down coming.
It's like they're bringing the kicking unit on, which is surprising. The last time they were down in this area, they decided to go for it.
And got stopped.
And they got stopped, right? But, I mean, boy.
So Cole Becker.
I'd stay consistent with my mentality, especially as your offensive line. You're doing a good job. You're getting that push. Fontenot's running. And
this will be from 38 yards out. Becker's a sophomore, led the team in scoring last season, and there's a flag. And I think delay a game again.
Delay a game. Offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
well, now the call's easy. You're definitely going to take the kick. Try to take the points.
And these are some of the issues you have when it's the first game of the season.
Pre-snap penalties. They've had, what, a couple false starts, a delay a game.
So now this will be from 43 yards out. And it's still good. One-point lead. Members of his family, former teammates. Very nice ceremony. They've got his number 23 on the field. Darius Davis back deep. And And here comes that TCU offense. And do we see Duggan? I think we do. I think we see Max Duggan.
I think it's time. I mean, Chandler has been okay, but I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see. but I think it's definitely a conversation worth having.
Yeah. Well, it looks like Duggan went back, and here comes Chandler Morris. So, you know, they said we'll see all three quarterbacks at certain points of this game. And again, they talked about, especially offensive coordinator Garrett Riley, that's a feel. Kendra Miller in the backfield. That's Johnston going in motion. They swing it out to him. They got to get the football to him. As he spins, tries to break a tackle, and he'll pick up maybe a couple. Quinn Perry makes the stop.
I think that's a smart call, though. You got to try and get Johnston involved in this offense if you can, whether it be down the field or just like this. Kind of like a little, almost like a screen on the outside. It's a bubble. Good job by the defense of the Buffaloes. Pursuit to the football.
Morris looking. Keeps his feet. Runs, cuts back. And brought down right there at the first down marker. Maybe a yard shy. Quinn Perry again with the stop. That's a 6-yard pickup. Third down coming here for TCU. Call it 3rd and 1. Under 7 minutes till the half. TCU won the toss. They deferred. They'll get it at the beginning of the second half. Again, they swing it out, this time to Tay Barber. And that's a first down.
Boy, how did Tay Barber slide through those two defenders like a phone booth out there? Very nimble to pick up the extra yards and convert that first 3rd down of the ball game for the Horned Frogs.
Imari DiMercado has checked into the backfield for TCU. Morris looking, throws, and complete to Jared Wiley.
Wiley had about 10 yards of green grass in front of him. If he's able to stay on his feet, the ball a little bit underthrown. So all that for really a no gain. And they got some big wide receivers. You talk about size. You know, Quentin Johnson goes 6'4", Spivey 6'5", Savion Williams 6'5", Jared Wiley 6'7". And those are mismatched nightmares against corners that are about 5'10".
And at certain points, they want to exploit that. Let's see if they do. Sling it out to the outside.
And this is what Garrett Riley, the offensive coordinator, talked about yesterday. They're going to try to exploit the one-on-one matchups, whether it be in the running game. They definitely want to run the football, but they've kind of been stifled a little bit inside. So now what they're doing, I think, is trying to get the ball in the perimeter, make the Buffaloes run a little bit here, and it seems to be working now. They've got a very important 3rd and 1 coming up here to keep this drive alive.
Yeah, that was Blake Nowell who made that catch. Horned Frogs have got 2 tight ends. DiMercado in the backfield. He gets the carry. Ooh, and he gets blown up about a yard behind the line.
Guy Thomas. We're so glad to have him back, Brian. This 2021 season was cut short due to injury. Plays that hybrid position. That's a big guy now.
Started his career in Nebraska. How about them Horned Frogs? They're going to go for it here on 4th and 2. From midfield. Oh, listen to this crowd. They go with the jet sweep to Johnston. Johnston down the corner. Johnston down the sideline.
Stepped out
of bounds.
Oh, stepped out about the 35. Sorry, Brian. He could have took that the distance had he just had a little bit more awareness down that sideline.
The officials, they say Johnston stepped out at the 35 of Colorado, so it's 1st and 10 for TCU at the Buff 35. Amani Bailey has checked into the backfield. Chandler Morris steps up, throws high.
Hit the official.
He had Bailey, but too high.
He was trying to get Bailey over the middle, and the umpire, which is part of the field, he hits him in his backside.
Which is interesting because you look at the past couple of plays, Dustin, and it seemed like TCU would throw to one side of the field, then they would run to the other side of the field. You think that was intentional?
I do. I think that they're trying to test them on the perimeter. Also, try and wear them out a little bit. First game, test the conditioning of Colorado.
Here's Morris. He's going to roll out. He's got over the middle. As Johnson threw behind him, though. He threw it behind him.
And that's a tough throw. You're rolling out to your right, and you try to come up. It's always like the Cardinals saying for a quarterback, we want to throw back across your body. It's always dangerous. But we'll take a look at Johnston. He's just going to come a little deep crossing route, and ball just behind him. Probably still should have been caught. I mean, he's behind him, but you get two hands on the football.
Here's third down.
It's a big one.
Horned Frogs 1 for 4 on third down here so far in this game.
How loud is this place?
Morris throws. Receiver screen to Savion Williams. And the Buffs not having it. Quinn Perry with the stop.
I'd say they love Quinn Perry on this defense. Plays the Mike backer position. Kind of splits time with the new transfer, Josh Chandler-Semedo. But boy, Perry is a really good one. Former rugby player. So you know he knows how to tackle, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's kind of that gray area, right, Brian, where, you know, we talked with Sonny Dykes last night about the kicker, and he said, we get inside, what, 42 yards-ish? This is just a little bit outside. This would be about, what?
Timeout. TCU, they're first to the half.
52 yards.
Timeout on the field.
They want to talk about it. Horned Frogs a 1-point lead. We got 2:30 until the half.
When the world writes her down.
I think so. And I think it's the right call. With 2.5 minutes to go.
The penalty. Fourth down.
Try and pin them deep. And you think about this, I mean, you got all your timeouts left. You have plenty of time to get the football back. If you can get a quick 3 and out, they could get the football back near midfield, maybe even in plus territory, with an opportunity to still put points on the board before halftime. I think it's a good call.
And let's not forget, to begin the second half, TCU will get the football.
Great point, partner.
So it'll be 4th and 15. Jordan Sandy come back in, and listen, you know, Sandy's doing something really great. Every time he punts and gets the opponent inside the 20, he donates $20 to the TCU Hope Center in Fort Worth for autism. There's a 9-year-old cousin in Australia that has autism, and that's his way of giving back. And he pins him. How about at the 1? Drop a 20 in there. 39-yard punt. No return.
Laird Conright gets down there and he just checks up like it's, you know, like a chip shot. Checks up. Conright's right there.
And again, I know people are looking like, wait a minute, his body's across. Like, that's in the NFL.
Yeah, NFL.
And college football is where the football is.
That's right.
And it was right there at the 1-yard line.
Great job.
Jordy Sandy, he's going to donate another 20 to the Hope Center in Fort Worth for autism. And listen, even his teammates have gotten into it as well.
Looks like we may have a new QB, Brian.
I think we might have. I think we may see JT Shrout.
Mike Sanford told us he'd get at least one series.
Yeah, Shrout here, and as he dives forward to try to get a little bit of room.
He got about 4 yards.
Yeah, he did.
On a quarterback sneak. That's a good play, positive play here. And this may be the one drive here he gets to end this first half. And you know, a lot of Colorado fans are excited about JT Shrout. You know, he goes down in the middle of August a season ago.
Transfer from Tennessee.
Yeah, tore his knee up last year, and he's got some insane arm talent, Mike Sanford said.
Smith in the backfield. Trout throws it down the sideline, looking, and caught. Arias makes the catch at their own 40. And he did that one over the best cover corner on TCU.
Man-to-man coverage on the outside. Arias has the matchup with Travius Hodges Tomlinson, the nephew, of course, of LaDainian Tomlinson. You talk about that arm talent that Coach Sanford was talking about. Wow, did you see him put it on the money?
Shroud again, and it's another strike. Arias again.
Boy, what you thought was just maybe, hey, let's just get out of our own territory, or our own end zone, basically, has turned into a drive now that they can try to go down here and get some points.
Minute on the clock. 2nd down and 6. And that's complete.
Wow.
Chase Penry makes the catch.
Brian, to come off the bench after sitting there, not only through a weather delay, but then 2 quarters essentially, and to come in and just drop this dime. Look at this. Beautiful throw and catch for the first down, and the Buffs are on the move.
11-yard pickup. Shroud has been perfect, 3 for 3. He'll step up, throw, and he had a man over the middle. If he could have put it on Penry, Penry could have caught and got some yak.
I thought for a moment Trout was just going to take off and run. He had a little bit of daylight in front of him, but he finds Penry just coming over the middle. You see he steps up. He's got some room, but that's a difficult throw, and yeah, just can't get 2 hands on it. So still plenty of time, 38 seconds. And we know they've got an excellent kicker in Cole Becker, who's hit a 56-yarder before, so he's got a strong leg.
We want to get about 10 to 15 more yards. That snap was low. Trout gets it. Flag. And it's caught. Reese Bell makes the catch, but there's a flag. 15-yard pickup. I think we may get a hold.
Holding. Offense number 60. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
That's on Jake Wiley.
Yeah, the right tackle. And that's what's tough. You know, sometimes when you get the quarterback scrambling outside the pocket, you're trying to sustain your block as an offensive lineman, and you get a little jersey. You'll see the right tackle right here. Just wasn't a lot. It was not a lot, but they make the call, and it's going to back him up. And boy, with 22 seconds to go, you got to have a chunk play here.
And they want to talk about it, Coach Durrell. Like to talk about
clock operator, please put 24 seconds back on the clock. 24
there's
seconds.
a lot to talk about at the half, because coming up, we got the Sling TV halftime report. Matt Berry, JG, Joey Galloway, Jesse Palmer. Jesse Palmer's doing everything now, man. He's done like The Bachelor, The Bachelorette. This guy's doing everything. Anyway, listen, they got a lot to talk about. How about ODU knocking off Vodtech? They'll talk about that. Serena. Have you seen the last of Serena?
Yeah, we watched the match here in the booth, and just what an amazing career from not only one of the greatest, well, the greatest women's tennis player of all time, but one of the greatest athletes we've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Men or women.
And college football expansion now.
Yeah, we got a lot. It's been a newsy day.
It has. You think 12 is the right number?
I do.
Okay.
I do. That's a sweet spot, I think.
Yeah. That's coming in 2026. Could come earlier. They work out the logistics. We'll talk about it at the half. This is 2nd and 20. 5 wide. Trout steps up.
Got to call timeout.
And he does at the 49. 4-yard pickup.
Now, listen, with 16 seconds to go, you still, I mean, look, if you can work the middle of the field, you got enough time to run a play. If you can get the first down, Brian, you can get up there and clock it and have an opportunity with the elevation, right? I mean, you got a great kicker. You can maybe try a field goal attempt here before halftime.
Well, tomorrow, the top matchups of the day, they highlight week 1 of the ABC College football lineup. Look, we got 11th ranked Oregon, 3rd ranked Georgia. They're going to square off at 3:30 Eastern. It's the annual Chick-fil-A kickoff game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Then 7:30 Eastern, Saturday night football game. Oh, presented by Capital One. 5th ranked Notre Dame, 2nd ranked Ohio State from the shoe in C-Bus, Columbus, Ohio. Both games available on the ESPN app. He's just smiling. I cannot wait to get to Columbus tomorrow. Dustin cannot wait.
It's going to be so much fun. So much fun. I haven't been back to a game in 10 years.
Wow. That's great. That's pretty fantastic. 3rd and 16. Here's Trout. And he's going to roll out, looking downfield, and he's going to throw this one away. Was he in bounds? Yes, intercepted. Keon Stewart.
TCU's ball, 1st and 10.
Probably should have thrown the football away, but with such little time left, trying to make something happen. For TCU, you got 2 timeouts. Do you try and take a shot? See number 2 Stewart come up here and get that.
Ooh,
no, I actually think he's out of bounds.
Yeah,
the previous play of an interception is under further video review.
I think he's out of bounds.
They're going to take another look at it.
And, you know, frankly, with 8 seconds, do you consider a Hail Mary? It'll be 4th down, because I think that's going to be overturned. I think this football will come back. Take a shot. I mean, can you run all 8 seconds off the clock in one play, or do you decide to punt?
Another look.
It's hard to tell, Brian. The one angle looked like he was out of bounds. That one did not. Yeah, that one does. Yeah, I think so.
And that's one of those teachable moments too, where you're bringing him over and say, hey man, throw that away.
Yeah, get it away. I think maybe in his mind, because the little amount of time left, he was just trying to make something happen, because, yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world if the interception does stand, which I do not think it will. If I'm Colorado and I get this football back, I'm
kicking it?
No, I would
throw it to the end zone?
Yeah, I mean, if you take the football back and you get decent protection, because you're going to drop, you know, TCU is going to put 4 guys on the goal line, right? They're going to rush 3, and they're going to drop 8. And you throw that as high as you can, almost like a punt. I think you can. The 8 seconds will run off the clock.
Well, here's the ruling.
After further review, the defender's foot was out of bounds when he caught the pass. This is an incomplete pass, so it'll be 4th down for Colorado at the 49-yard line.
Take a look at Sonny Dykes. Getting into his first season in Fort Worth, his 12th overall as a head coach. I think they might just do what you just said, just throw it up.
And we know JT Shrout's got that arm, and you're going to see TCU's going to back up everybody. Going to put 3 guys on the goal line and just shot put this thing.
That's what Shrout does. He's going to throw it to the end zone and knock it down. Isn't that what you taught as a corner?
Knock it down. Those throws at the end of the first half were just amazing.
Johnston at the top of your screen, and they give it to Kendra Miller. And he breaks one up the middle.
I think Sonny might have hurt us. That was an explosive play. They need more explosive plays for this offense to be effective. I thought the one drive they had offensively, as you take a look at Kendre Miller's burst up the middle, Brian, were when they got the ball on the perimeter, especially to Quentin Johnston, need to find a way to get the ball in his hands here in the second half.
Well, here's Miller again, and Miller up the middle, breaking tackles. Jalen Stryker makes the stop. That's an 8-yard pickup. And again, they'll go with tempo. And a flag.
False start. Offense number 12. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Jacorius Spivey. So there's Sonny Dykes, man. I mean, you look at what he did at SMU. Those 3 seasons, they're 3 winning seasons. SMU had not seen that kind of success since the mid-'80s. I'm talking about the Pony Express days. That's the main reason why TCU went to go get him. And another flag. And I think delay a game.
Come on, you can't have those.
Delay a game.
Especially, Brian, as you had 2 really nice explosive runs from Kendre Miller. And now you back yourselves up to 2nd and long.
After the penalty, TCU 2nd and 12 from the 4-yard line.
So 2nd and 12 coming for TCU. Trips at the top of your screen. Here's Miller again. Back to the original line of scrimmage. Josh Chandler-Tomato makes the stop.
You know, Garrett Riley, who's the offensive coordinator here, comes over from SMU. You may recognize that last name. Yeah, he's Lincoln's little brother. We talked with Garrett last night a little bit about how much he communicates with big brother. He's like, really not that much. You know, they kind of have the exact same schedules because they're both coaches, they're both busy guys, but when they do get a chance to talk, they frankly just talk family. Just talk about, you know, what's going on in their family, personal lives.
Moore steps up, throws over the middle and caught by Jacorius Spivey.
Spivey is a mismatch nightmare. You know, this offense is evolved to be more tight end friendly, and he is just very, very big and physical, and he's got great hands.
20-yard pickup. Johnston out at the top of your screen. He's looking at him. They throw over the middle, wide open. He's with Johnston, or I should say Spivey.
I think this might be coming back, though, Brian. Terrence Lang, I think, was held on the end. And how was Spivey so wide open?
Offense number 77.
That negates a 22-yard pickup.
Replay first down.
On that crossing route.
It's going to be right on your left tackle. It's Brandon Coleman. 54 is Terrence Lang. He tries to come inside, and that's an easy call. I mean, you tackle him to the ground.
So 1st and 20 now for the Horned Frogs. From the Colorado 42, right up the middle. DiMarcardo, he may take it to the house. Touchdown, TCU. The senior out of Inglewood, California. 5th year with the program, goes 43. And TCU has another touchdown on the board.
Bursts right through this hole, gets a great block up front from Avila, and then just puts a little cut on Jalen Stryker, number 2, the safety. He's trying to come up and make a tackle in the open field. Very difficult to do, but DiMarcardo, who coaches were kind of raving about last night, they said he's really had a strong camp.
Extra point is good. So TCU on their first offensive possession here the second half. Go 5 plays, 75 yards, and they do it in 3 minutes.
No offense in the first half. Sonny Dykes must have said something at halftime because his offense is
Career, his previous long was just 22 yards. Meanwhile, TCU, well, listen, they've won their last 7 games against Pac-12 opponents. Trying to keep that streak alive. And I think that last offensive series was the most yards that they had in the entire first half.
Well, 67 yards total in the first half. That drive 75 alone. So they need more of that here. And, you know, I really think this is important for Colorado here. They've got to respond.
Well, Brendan Lewis is back in. Of course, they went with Strout to end the second half. Here's Estra. Trying to break tackles, but he lost a yard. D. Winters, the quarterback of that defense, the alpha dog of that defense.
Yeah, really good pursuit by the Horned Frogs and D. Winters, who, of course, gets there. And Estero's trying to just make something happen. He cuts back inside. And you don't want to see number 13.
Joe Gillespie, the new defensive coordinator for TCU. He comes over from Tulsa. Lewis. No, he is just a bit off the mark.
Just a little off.
Yeah.
And, you know, after seeing, you hear some boos here from the fans. And remember, these fans saw Lewis last season.
Right.
He really struggled. Struggled to complete drives, accuracy issues, things like that. And he's had a really good camp. He feels like he's got a good sense of this offense, Mike Sanford's new offense. But boy, watching JT Shrout at the end of that first half makes me think what every Colorado student's thinking right now. Might want to get number 5 back in the game at some point here.
3rd and 11. The Buffs 50% on 3rd down. Lewis, receiver screen. And he got it to Arias, but man, I mean, Hodges and those Horned Frogs were right on it.
And you can hear the fans here in Boulder are letting this offense know that they need to get something going. Defense is just flying around, and they're not sexy. I mean, this defense, they dropped 8, they rushed 3, and they pride themselves on doing the little things right. Fundamentals, pursuit, tackling, and that's exactly what they did on that drive.
Ashton Logan's going to kick things away. Darius Davis standing at his own 30. Keep in mind, he took 160 in the first half, and you might remember this young man was the replacement for Kavontae Turpin, who's doing some things now with the Dallas Cowboys. So TCU always had good returners. We're in the 3rd quarter. TCU up 8.
Vincent wants to continue his legacy here at TCU.
That's cool. Game recognizes game. Dre Miller gets the carry. Give him a yard.
And that's what this Colorado defense needs to do. That last drive was really, it was all rushing down the field. I mean, they only had the 1 completion to Spivey, and the rest was Kendre Miller. And, of course, DeMarcado had the long touchdown run. But these dudes weren't getting touched for like 10 yards. So the tackling here in the pursuit of Colorado, they've got to get better and get the football back to their offense.
Second and 9. From their own 30. Morris throwing to the outside, complete to Miller. Quinn Perry right with him.
I like this Quinn Perry from the Buffaloes playing that Mike linebacker position. You got to be able to run sideline to sideline. He's got great speed. Captain of this defense.
Imani Bailey has checked into the backfield for TCU. Johnston at the top of your screen.
It's been quiet.
Morris over the middle, complete to Williams. Flag down, 1st down. Let's find out about the flag.
That flag came from about 20 yards behind the play.
It would be an 11-yard pickup.
There is no foul for offensive pass interference. The ball is caught behind the line of scrimmage. First down, TCU.
Okay.
Pickup of 11.
They're trying to get the pick route right there, and it was a pick. We're going to say that Williams was catching the football before the line of scrimmage.
From their own 44. Morris eludes the rush, rolls off his back foot. But that's short for Johnston.
Well, I'll tell you what I really like, though, Brian, on that play is the pocket presence of Chandler Morris. He looks a little bit banged up after that play, but I loved how he sat in the pocket. He was able to step up. He goes through his progressions, steps up, avoids Lang, and then just gets out, creates that separation, and takes a big hit at the end.
Yeah, Jalen Samia was after him.
Big hit, but I mean, I think that pocket presence was tremendous.
Second and 10. Over the middle and complete. That's a first down. Jared Wiley.
You know, it's kind of funny talking with Sonny Dykes about this offense and how much it's evolved throughout the years in terms of adding a tight end.
Moore is going to keep it.
You know, he said it used to be all 10 personnel, which is 4 wide receivers when they were at Texas Tech, when he was with Mike Leach for several years. And then he kind of evolved. He said when he got to Arizona, you may have heard of this guy, Rob Gronkowski.
Heard of him.
He's pretty good, right? So then they go a little bit more 12 personnel, getting tight ends involved in the game. So now you see this air raid system evolve, and they've got some pretty good tight ends here that they use in this offense. You saw that pop pass there on that previous play to Wiley.
Miller and DeMarcado in the backfield. It's Miller, though, gets the carry. Left side. About 2 yards shy of a first down. Isaiah Lewis makes the stop. 8-yard pickup. Third down coming.
Where was this offense in the first half? Geez, they're finally getting comfortable. Staying on schedule. I think this is what TCU fans expected. I know it was a sluggish start, but this has been tremendous here to start the third quarter.
Morris keeps it. And he's inside the 20. Another first down for the Horned Frogs, and it looks like it's TCU winning the battle up front.
No question. Again, I don't know if it's fatigue or what, but I mean, the offensive line, they're just getting a push and opening up huge running lanes for Morris on that play. But the previous runs between Kendre Miller and DeMarcado, like, they're just wide open gaps for these guys to run through.
We go 2 tight ends here. To the outside from Johnston. Trying to break a tackle. He's brought down at the 14.
The one thing I like about Johnston is you see a lot of these guys, and he's going to be an NFL player. We know that, right? But he's not one of those prima donnas, not a diva type. He doesn't get all the targets for as big and physical as he is and as explosive as he is. But he's okay. Like, they line him up on the outside at times. Now they got him matched up one-on-one, so you actually may see him take a shot. But sometimes he's a decoy. He's okay with that. One of the most selfless players on the team.
And they're going to call a timeout. TCU and talk about this. Second down and 5.
Their first of the half. This will be a 30-second
Johnston,
timeout.
he's one of those freaks. It was on the Bruce Feldman freak list of the top lifters and jumpers and 40-yard dash and things like that. He is going to be special. Remember last year, he got the "You Got Moss" gloves.
He did.
In the Oklahoma game.
He did. Randy signed them and sent them to him.
Pretty sweet.
To the field, and Taylor.
Well, I talked to Quentin Johnston this week, and to your point, Dustin, I was talking to him about being unselfish, and he said, look, one of my favorite things when Sonny Dykes got to TCU, the entire wide receiver room was so amped up because it meant more touches for all of them, and he said that was a highlight for me, knowing we were all going to be really involved in this offense.
Yeah, he's going to be a special one, Taylor. I really enjoyed watching his career. Did a game of his last season against Kansas State and was just really impressed with his catch radius. He does it all.
Here's Morris. Keeps it. And he goes down at the 18. Nico Reed makes the stop. This is the first time TCU's been in the red zone tonight, believe it or not.
And this will be big for this defense if they can hold them to a field goal attempt. Because the last two drives, they have just really kind of gashed this defense. After a really strong start in the first half, holding them just to 67 yards of total offense in the first half.
You see Morris a little limp. And flags go flying everywhere.
False start. Offense number 79. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And that's on Steve Avila.
And that's the 7th penalty for 60 yards on this TCU offense.
So it went from 3rd and 8 to 3rd and 13 now.
I think you got to bring a little pressure here. Just going to rush 4.
Morris throws over the middle, caught by Jordan Hudson.
Nice sure tackle by Trevor Woods, and now you get off the field here, force a field goal attempt. And what does Colorado do on the next possession as you take a look at the throw over the middle to Hudson? Good tackle there by Trevor Woods. When Colorado gets the football back, Brian, do you think they should consider Shrout after what you saw on that last drive?
Here's Griffin Kell for the field goal attempt. And it's good.
Timeout on the field.
Let's take a look at where the injury may have happened here with Chandler Morris.
I think it was on this play as he's trying to cut back. He gets his left ankle rolled up on right there by Nico Reed, the cornerback, and he comes up a little bit lame, comes off to the sideline, and now they're taking a look at him on the training table. Hopefully he's going to be okay. I guess the one positive sign, or the positive thing I should say, if you're TCU, is you've got an experienced backup in Max Duggan, who certainly is no stranger to playing in big games. Started 29 games, and we may end up seeing him the next time TCU gets the football back.
B-Lou, Brandon Lewis still at quarterback. Lewis throws it to his check down, Deion Smith.
And it's so funny how we see things up here from our vantage point. Arias was just streaking down the field. He beat the secondary, and it's tough. I mean, Lewis was looking off to his left. He didn't see it, but Arias had himself about an 80-yard sprint.
Here's Smith from the I formation. That's a first down and plenty more. Millard Bradford makes the stop. They'll move the chains. And if you're Colorado, you need to score.
You need points ASAP, and you don't need 3. You need a tutty, big time. I mean, you've been to the red zone 2 times, 0 for 2. That's been the problem. I mean, they've moved the football up and down the field. They just haven't been able to capitalize.
Lewis keeps it. Cross midfield and out of bounds.
Boy, what a block on the outside from Brady Russell, who was a receiver, turned into a willing blocker, and allowed Lewis to cut right back up inside and pick up that first down. Brady Lewis is doing it all. We didn't get a chance to talk about it. He was running down on special teams on the last punt and actually made the tackle on Darius Davis. So this guy is all over the place, does it all.
12-yard pickup. 2 tight ends for Colorado. This is Smith. Oh, I love how Bradford came flying up there to fill that gap and make that tackle.
Joe Gillespie was talking about how important that middle safety is. And Bradford plays that spot, and he does it so well. He's the quarterback, knows what everybody has to do, gets guys lined up. They want to take a lot off the linebackers' plate. And, boy, Bradford does a terrific job as you take a look at the stats here. Third quarter, wow.
Lewis steps up and sacked. And the youngster Dominic Williams, hey, look, they were excited about him because they said, look, this is his first game collegiate game. He's 17. He is 17 years old.
And by the way, an early happy birthday to Mr. Dominic, because he turns 18 on Sunday, but he is playing his first FBS game as a Frosh at 17 years old. And think about, and Coach Gillespie says he's got a 17-year-old son playing high school football right now.
Right, exactly. 3rd and 15. Lewis looking. Dumps it off to R.J. Sneed.
Got to go for this, Brian. You got to go. You're at the 40-yard line. You're down 11 points. It's been a struggle to find the end zone for this Colorado offense.
See both these teams doing a little bit of wolfing at one another. 10-yard pickup.
They're punting.
4th and 5.
And the Colorado faithful not too happy with this decision, and I understand, because I'd be going for this.
Ashton Logan will punt things away. Darius Davis will stand back at his own 10.
Man.
Under 30 left in the quarter.
So you gain 20 yards of field position. You got 1 quarter to go. You're down 2 scores. You got to get points. I think that's a mistake. I think you have to go for that there. And you finally had something cooking there on offense. In the 4th and 5s, you can get those, especially where you're out in the field.
Well, on Monday night, 8 Eastern, ESPN and the app, it's the second of the Chick-fil-A kickoff games, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. And the only game, Labor Day schedule, Dabo Swinney, Clemson taking on Georgia Tech. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern. Hey, Max Duggan has checked in now for the Horned Frogs. He gives that to DeMarcado. And Terrence Lang is all over that.
Yeah, Lang says, Terrence Lang's a fun player to watch for this Colorado defense.
That's the final play of the 3rd quarter. And it's the Horned Frogs with an 11-point lead. First matchup ever between the Horned Frogs and the Buffs. And we've got 1 more quarter here in Boulder. TCU up 17-6. At quarterback, Duggan's going to keep it. Duggan, he can run, spins off someone, almost kept his feet, and goes down at the 49-yard line. Trevor Woods is the guy who tripped him up 33 yards by Max Duggan.
And after sitting on the sidelines for about like 2.5 hours of real time, most players would have pulled a hamstring trying to burst. He just got outside the pocket and just, what a hole and what a run.
Jet sweep to Darius Davis. And he's in Buffs territory. Woods again with another stop.
And one thing.
Meanwhile, Chandler Morris, they've got the ice. And look at this, being consulted by his teammates. Taylor's got more. Taylor?
Well, I was watching him. He had not moved from the training table until just now. He has wrapped that left knee with ice. Offensive coordinator Garrett Riley came over, checked on him, but we'll keep you posted as the game moves on.
Duggan keeps it. Tyron Taylor makes the stop, and you saw the emotion out of him. You got to feel bad for that young man.
No question. You know, a guy who's been through so much, you know, coming off the injury, and he gets an opportunity, has a great camp. He gets a new coaching staff that he really feels like he fits into their offense. And obviously, you know, if you're a TCU fan, you still feel good about Max Duggan. He's the ultimate warrior. He's a war daddy at quarterback. 29 starts, been through so much as well. Adversity, injuries, had a heart condition. He's been through so much.
Here's DeMarcado. DeMarcado spins and knocked out of bounds at the 30. 11-yard pickup for him.
It just seems like this Colorado defense is just gassed right now. As you watch their linebackers in the edge, no one's setting the edge right now, and guys are getting caught inside, and all of a sudden, you know, you're out the gate. And now you got a running quarterback in there. Colorado's got to be careful. This is danger territory here. If they get a touchdown, this thing could be over.
Battle and DeMarcado are here in the backfield with Duggan. It's Battle.
You know, Brian, I still want to go back and talk about the decision on that 4th and 5 at the 40-yard line right before the quarter ended to punt. And obviously the fans weren't happy about it, and it was an effective drive for your offense, and you're down 2 scores. I think they're going to be kicking themselves for not deciding to at least take that chance on that 4th and 5. He only netted 20 yards. It's a deciding play, I think, in the game.
Win in DeMarcado. Here's Duggan. He's going to throw it. And he got drilled as he tried to let it go. Guy Thomas is the guy who hit him. That's incomplete.
And, you know, now, if you can find a way to get off the field here, if you're Colorado, whether you hold them to a field goal or maybe they miss the field goal, either way, you're going to be in passing situations here for the remainder of the game. I still think you have to consider giving Stroud another series.
3rd and 8. From the Buffs 29. Duggan's going to keep it. He's close to a first down, maybe about 2 yards short.
I would run the same play again on 4th down. I mean, they can't stop Duggan. It's just design quarterback run. It's basically power. You know, you get an extra blocker because the quarterback's carrying the football. I would do the exact same thing again. You only need 3 yards. And Colorado can't stop it right now.
When you talk about power, you can see they brought in a couple of tight ends here. Kendre Miller now in the backfield with Duggan. And they flip it to Williams. Williams to the outside. Williams cuts back. And knocked out of bounds at about the 1.
Great play design by Garrett Riley, the offensive coordinator. It looks like, you know, everyone thinks that Duggan's going to carry the football. You get everybody going to the left. You come back around with Williams. Might have been a whole bit of a hold there late in the down, but not called. And TCU's trying to put this one to bed.
They're going to mark it at the 3. 1st and goal. Miller, DeMarcado in the backfield. And touchdown, Kendre Miller.
What a drive. What a drive by TCU. 80 yards. As you see Kendre Miller, he's going to get tripped up here a little bit, but he spins and just gets that ball across the goal line for the score. That's definitely a touchdown from that look. And really a devastating drive for Colorado. I mean, you had something going where you were in plus territory, had a chance down 11 to maybe go down and get some points, cut it to a one-score game, and now you're looking at 24-6 passing situations the rest of the game, and this TCU offense has woken.
Unanswered points here in this second half as Chandler Morris has the ice on the knee. His teammates look to consult him. Hey, Sunday night, it's the inaugural All-State Louisiana kickoff game. Florida State, LSU, Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. That's Brian Kelly making his head debut as the head coach of the Tigers. And a critical game for Florida State head coach Mike Norvell. He needs really to get off to a good start. He's been on the hot seat going into the season. Which begins 7:30 Eastern, ABC and the ESPN app. So, switching things up again for Colorado. JT Shrout is back under center with that arm strength. Scrambling, throwing downfield, and into double coverage to Arias, incomplete.
I think you have to make this decision, Brian, because you know you're in, you got to throw almost every down to try and at least get back in this game with 10.5 minutes to go. And Shrout has the better arm. There's no doubt about that. He's got to be a little bit more consistent. When we were talking with the offensive coordinator, Coach Sanford, he was saying he's never seen more wow throws from a player ever in his career, and he's coached some good ones, including Andrew Luck.
And you need some chunk plays here. I mean, TCU on these drives, I think especially in the second half, had like 9 of plays of 10 or more yards.
And the thing that TCU's defense is going to do, they're going to force you to kind of dink and dunk. They're okay with making Colorado go 12, 13 play drive. And look, I mean, if they go 13 plays, it's going to eat 7 minutes off the clock. So like they're okay with that. They're going to just drop 8, give you everything underneath, but not allow anything over the top.
Trout, look out. T. Winters.
That's an alpha move.
Yeah, it is. Come flying in there.
Watch him off the right side, 13. He looks like he's going to drop into coverage, and that's why Shrout doesn't see him. And they typically don't bring pressure. They just rush 3 like I was talking about a second ago. There they decide to bring 4, and Winters is the extra body in the box and gets the sack.
Second sack of the night for the Horned Frogs. Again, under pressure, Shrout throws it over the middle and behind Brady Russell. Down to the field. And Taylor, what do you got for us, Taylor?
Well, TCU without linebacker Thomas Armstrong on this drive right now. He's on the training table with ice around his left knee. Also, to update you on Chandler Morris, he remains on this sideline. He took the tape off of both of his ankles.
See Morris there.
The previous play is under further review for potential targeting.
They want to look at targeting.
This would be a big call if they did determine there was targeting. And of course, the replay booth can initiate a replay review. If it is targeting, this would be an automatic first down, which would be huge for the Colorado offense. So we'll have it on the other side.
Take another look. We'll have the decision when we come back.
No.
3rd and 22 now for the Buffs. From their own 25. Shrout. Caleb Fourier with the catch. 9-yard pickup. 4th down coming. 4th and 17 from their own 31. They're going to have to go for it.
Now you go for it.
Yeah, I'm sure when they're a lot of buffs are going to say, what about earlier in the third quarter?
When it mattered?
Yeah. Here's Shrout over the middle. Dangerous pass, tipped, and incomplete.
Well, Colorado probably wishes they picked it off.
First down, TCU.
Instead, now TCU gets the ball nearly in field goal range.
8:45 left in this one. And the Horned Frogs looking to win week. As we take a look at our week 1 featured college football lineup Saturday and Sunday on ABC and the ESPN app. Oregon and Georgia, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Florida State, LSU. Here's Bailey. Monty Bailey spins and picks up about 5. Bailey's the transfer from the University of Louisiana. A couple seasons he spent with the Raging Cajuns. Trent Battle is checked in as well in that backfield with Bailey. What the Horned Frogs have done in the second half offensively. How about the reverse? Here comes Davis around that left side.
He's
cuts it back. That's a touchdown. Davis. Second of the night for him. Punt return for 60. This one 27. And again, this is the young kid who is replaced Cavante Turpin, who used to do this for TCU, who's doing it now for the Cowboys. They're calling it Turpin time with the Cowboys. And now,
Brian, we got to show 77 Brandon Coleman, the left tackle, who was blocking down the field, had an Orlando Pace type of pancake block. He is, look how fired up he is coming off the sidelines because he knows he got himself a triple stack.
Yeah, he did. Double D with a couple of touchdowns as well.
Watch this block. 77. He's going to come into your screen late. Here we go. Right here. Right here. And then jumps on top of him with the aggressive JOP.
There he is.
You know, Jeremy Mack, number 3, is the one who's going to get pancaked. And look, there's nothing he can do. He's 6 foot, 190 pounds.
Yeah.
And Coleman goes 6'6", 325. It's like just make it end. That's a tough. What a block.
TCU, 2 plays, 32 yards, and do it in 48 seconds. 31-6 now. Our score.
So in about 5 hours, you and I are heading on flights. I'm going to Columbus. You're going back to Jersey. Big game tomorrow night in Columbus, right?
Huge.
7:30 kick, ABC,
Huge.
College game day in the morning. Buckeyes, Irish. So pumped to go back because they are honoring us, the 2002 National Championship. 20-year reunion. I'm getting old, partner. Getting old, but we got some good memories, right?
Yeah, let's take it back.
It is 3rd down and 4 now. Short 4, the pass is in the air, intercepted by Dustin Fox. He threw it right to him.
But I got tackled by an offensive lineman. What a great memory, though, beating the Hurricanes back in 2002, and it'll be so great to get back and see my teammates and Coach Tress tomorrow. They had a nice event tonight down in Columbus, and tomorrow we got a lot of fun things to do. And of course, ESPN being there with College Game Day and Jack Harlow perform. It's gonna be sweet. It's gonna be a fun day.
Say hello to my parents. They'll be there too.
Yeah, I will. I will.
Say hello to the family.
No doubt.
They'll be at the game as well.
No doubt.
Shroud's pass.
Of course, all Labor Day weekend. Look, don't get off your couch, folks. I'm telling you, just sit in front of the couch, order a pizza, get some wings, and watch this lineup. Georgia, Oregon, Ohio State, Notre Dame, as you pointed out, Cincinnati, Arkansas, LSU, Brian Kelly's first game.
And then we cap it on Monday with Tech and Clemson.
Absolutely. Here's Shrout, and that one's complete.
That's a dime.
Montana, Ammonius Craig.
Look at that young man.
4-year starter.
Yeah.
4-year starter. National champion.
Yeah, appreciate that, brother. It's been a long time since I put on the pads, but had a lot of fun playing for Ohio State, and tomorrow is going to be special. So
yeah, it should be.
And of course, with Marcus Freeman, my old teammate, now the head coach at Notre Dame, coming back as well. So it's like full circle for everybody. Yeah. And James Laurinaitis on their staff as well. So there's a lot to be talked about tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m. with College Game Day.
Yeah, you talked about Marcus Freeman, and again, linebacker there at Ohio State, and now head coach at Notre Dame. And he understands the atmosphere that he's bringing the Golden Domers into.
You know, he said earlier in the week, they told him in the press conference that, you know, you're a 17-point underdog. And he's like, I didn't know that.
And he was nearly intercepted.
Goes back and says, you know, I will make sure our team knows that. So, a little motivation for the Irish.
When you look at that game, too, because, you know, Ohio State is so loaded offensively. You know, they're looking to have that defense to be a lot better. What do you think would be the key in that game?
Look, I think our offense is, I say our, whoops, the Buckeyes defense, or offense, I should say, is explosive. But I will say this, the bugaboo for Ohio State has been, over the last several seasons, the defense. They always call it the silver bullet defense, and it just hasn't quite been the same. Well, Jim Knowles comes in from Oklahoma State, defensive coordinator, and the reviews have been phenomenal. But it's just training camp, so they got to put it on tape, right? You got to do it during the games. You got to be consistent, and no better way to do it than a national spotlight ABC against a very tough opponent in Notre Dame.
And when you look at what we got here as Colorado gets ready to punt this off, let's start with Colorado. I mean, as you talked about, new roster, number of players new, whole new slew of coaches that Coach Durrell has brought in here. What are you thinking about Colorado? Because and they knew this going in here, that they've been picked to finish last in the conference. Yeah. What do you think?
Well, number one, they've got to find a quarterback. I don't think this going back and forth between Lewis and Shrout all season long is going to work. I think they have to pick a quarterback and ride him. And of course, they got to get the football in the hands of their playmakers, and they got to find more playmakers too. As TCU is going to have the football up 31-6. 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
31-6, our score in the third quarterback for TCU. Sam Jackson, redshirt freshman, is in now, and he can run. And he's got it, and he is off. Jackson down the sideline and run out of bounds at the 50. Hey, look, they call him an electric athlete.
Yeah, Sonny Dykes said he's kind of like their secret weapon.
32 yards. Said he could play 6 different positions. He said
right now on this team could play 6 different positions. Was a great high school basketball player. Was a wide receiver, moved to quarterback. And Brian, tell me if I'm wrong, but like, are my eyes seeing this? Just like the speed of TCU is just
unbelievable.
It's like a different level than what Colorado has. It's incredible. Look at this.
And there's the speed right there. Palin brought down at the 13-yard line by Jalen Stryker. 34 yards.
I think that you or I could have run through this hole. Look at it. It's just untouched for 40 yards. And I think if you're, Coach Durrell and obviously the defensive coordinator Chris Wilson, like, you're looking for guys to step up here. Like, You don't want to roll over.
Right.
You know, that's what you're looking for. It's the first game of the season. You want to see who wants to play. You're trying to find guys.
Meanwhile, on the other side, if you're Coach Dykes, you got to love how your offense is played and your defense. If you pitched the shutout here in the second half.
Yeah, they've been, like, again, a tale of two halves. I mean, the first half was, and maybe it was just the first game jitters, just trying to shake things off, learn, hey, this is what this offense is going to feel like, and getting used to just all the little things, the altitude, maybe adjusting to that too. I mean, there's a lot of things that could have factored in, but neither here nor there. The second half has been just absolutely domination by TCU.
It's a 2nd and 8. Jackson. He's going to keep it. Forced out of bounds at the 8-yard line. Under 4 minutes left in this game. Well, you talked about being a tale of two halves, and you see 67 yards of offense is what the Horned Frogs had in that first half, and wow, almost 350 here in the second half.
So for all the TCU faithful out there that were kind of freaking out at the first half, like, oh my gosh, we didn't score any points on offense, we had 67 yards, like, this is what I think you expect this offense to look like, as they just put another one on the board. Sam Jackson, elusive and electric.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can see why they are really high on his athleticism at quarterback. Ooh, that young man's going to be a problem. So he gets his first collegiate touchdown, and 7 yards out.
Quite a turnout here, by the way, for the folks who made it from Dallas-Fort Worth to Boulder. And I think it was worth their trip. As you take a look, I mean, this is just, look at the speed and then just a little move. I think Coach Sonny Dykes is right. I mean, this guy looks like he could play wide receiver. And we also asked him, like, hey, how's his arm? Like, can he throw the football? And he says, absolutely. That guy's got a rocket for an arm. He can do it all.
38-6. Now the score for Sonny Dykes and his Horned Frogs. Get another look here. And Sam Jackson Jr. out of Illinois. Hey, as soon as we're done, it is Sports Center from Los Angeles. Stan and Linda. I got Heather Dinich. She's going to help us make some sense of the future of the college football playoffs. Serena, the U.S. Open is over for her. Is this the last time we're going to see the GOAT? We'll talk about that, show us highlights. Jeannie Buss discusses LeBron and Russell Westbrook's impact on the Lakers. It is Sports Center, Los Angeles. Here on ESPN. You can also check it out on the app. And Stan Verrett and Linda Cohn. Coney, another GOAT.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about being on Sports Center.
No doubt.
Celebrating an anniversary. I want to say, was it 20 years, 25 years, I think she celebrated on Sports Center.
I think 25 sounds about right. She's fantastic.
Absolutely. Back to the sideline and Taylor.
Just a final update on Chandler Morris. Just a couple minutes ago, he made his trek to the locker room, and as you probably assumed, his night is officially over.
Yeah. You see that limp the young man's got.
Yeah, you feel bad for Chandler because, you know, he's getting this start. It was, you know, he had a couple starts last year, and he played so well in that Baylor game, the upset of Baylor, 520 yards passing, and did just a great job. Kind of wanted to have people stop talking just about that game, and now he's injured in the opener here, so hopefully he's going to be okay.
By the way, so Serena is over at the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
We got Linda on there talking about another GOAT. 30 years on Sports.
Oh, 30 years. We sold her short.
30 years.
Wow.
Man, that's excellence there.
Absolutely.
How about Sonny Dykes? You want to talk about the Midas touch, man. And again, 3 winning seasons he put up at SMU is the main reason why TCU went to go get him.
Well, he's had success really everywhere he's been. I mean, it wasn't great at Cal, but I mean, at Tech, they won the WAC. The WAC was a really good conference back then. If we take a look at what TCU has remaining, well, the FCS opponent next week, and
you want to talk about how intense that game on September 24th is going to be? We takes on the Mustangs. Oh, my goodness. At SMU, too, in Dallas. Oh, my goodness.
And then Oklahoma the next week. Garrett, well, Lincoln now gone, but it's still going to be a big matchup for TCU.
Stroud.
You think the Bear is right? I mean, you know the Bear.
He picked TCU to win it, didn't he?
On game day last weekend, he did.
Receiver in the area.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, TCU going into the season, I think they were picked to finish 7th in the conference. I think it was 2014 was the last time they had been picked 7th, and they ended up winning the conference.
Look, if you watch the Daily Wager, Bear knows his stuff.
Yeah.
So he found some value on the Horned Frogs to possibly win the Big 12.
Here's Stroud again, and that one over the middle, and his hands dropped. Austin Smith had it, took a lick, and dropped it. Here's 3rd down. And that's complete.
Well, Stroud sure throws a pretty football.
He does.
Man, the tight spiral, the way it comes out of his hand. I can see what Coach Sanford's talking about. So look at Armstrong, who obviously will not return as well. He's got some ice on that knee.
There's another one. So give me a positive for the Buff faithful here. Is it that, well, you know what? Maybe we found our quarterback in JT Stroud.
I've been impressed with him. Now, again, he's going up against some of the backups here late in the game, so it's hard to tell exactly what he has. But just the arm talent alone, yeah, dude looks like a baller. So I think if you go back here, is obviously Colorado now next week is going to face Air Force on the road. Then they go to Minnesota.
Clock operator, please reset the game clock.
Two matchups that they struggled with last year, but I think JT's definitely going to have to be in the mix.
On the snap.
I think Lewis brings some more athleticism to the position, but it's 2022. You got to throw the rock.
Yeah.
And in this league, I mean, really, you got to have a quarterback, and that's been the problem here. They just haven't had that guy. What's the last quarterback they had? Montez?
Yeah,
it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while. They'll move the chains here. Minute 20 and the clock's moving. And Stroud throwing it to the outside. Caught, touchdown. Jordan Tyson makes the catch.
Well, if anything, Brian, as we were just talking about, you may have found something here in Stroud late in this game. I mean, that throw, a couple of these throws just on this drive alone were just beautiful. The end of the first half was great. Kind of driving him down. It stalled, of course, with the Hail Mary, but I think JT Stroud has really shown Buffalo fans. If you ask me, like, hey, what's something good to take away from this game? I think that's the positive. Is that Stroud looks like he's got a live arm, and again, they've got some weapons at receiver, but you got to have somebody that can deliver the football, and he did right there. Great catch on the outside.
Yeah, true freshman out of Allen, Texas. First collegiate touchdown.
How about that? Goes up. Make sure he knows where he's at. Gets that foot down.
Buffs. Those 75 yards. Do it in 2 minutes. Finally get a touchdown on the board. Darrell, we were asking him about how does he see this season playing out, and he said, listen, I can't tell you how many games we're going to win. I just know that we'll win more than we did last year. And listen, they only won 4 games last year.
Yeah.
But he believed that the biggest difference from this year compared to last year is the depth. They didn't have it last year. He felt like when we went to our number 2s, it was a tremendous drop-off. Doesn't believe that drop-off is as steep this coming season.
Well, and that's the goal. You know, you hope that you got the depth. In this game in particular, maybe you just ran into a really good TCU team. That's your hope. To me, they look like they're on another level. Like talking about TCU, I think their speed is something that is just they just have more of it, frankly, than Colorado. And as you go through the rest of the season, you hope you face some teams that you match up better with. Well, as we look at
Darius Davis.
Darius Davis, this dude can fly.
He's been the star. I mean, listen, he had the 60-yard punt return. This for a touchdown. The 27-yard end around on the reverse. He's the first FBS player with a 60-yard punt return and a TD run of 25 yards in the same game since Wesley Kennedy did it 3 years ago against New Mexico State. Davis also with his 4th career punt return TD that ties Cavante Turpin for the most in TCU history. Sonny Dykes is going to win his first game as head coach of TCU. The Horned Frogs are now going to go 8-1 in their last 9 season openers. And they have won their last 8 games now against Pac-12 opponents.
Heck of a performance in the second half. You know, the slow start to the game for the Horned Frogs, and it really turned it on. I don't know if Sonny said something at halftime or if guys just settled in, but they've really got it cooking offensively in the second half. TCU, as the Bear said, might be the team to watch in 2022.
Well, that's going to do it here from Boulder. For Taylor McGregor, Dustin Fox, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Brian Custer. Thanks for joining us.